All right, so just a quick video. I'm out here in nature. I'm out here in the woods, and I just wanted to talk about something that I was like thinking about today. Is that like the samurai book that I read that was written by like an actual clerk of a samurai clan in the early 1700s, and in that book he talked about like the various principles that the clan had, and it's basically like the best text there is on the samurai and their actual code and their actual doctrine. And he talked about how there's a passage in that book that says matters of great concern should be treated lightly and matters of small concern should be taken seriously. And I didn't really know what that meant. It didn't make a lot of sense to me, but now that I thought about it, I actually realized what it means. Is that, let's say you start the day and you have these like routines that you do, these little things that you do throughout the day, and they're all decisions. From the time that you wake up to the time that you go to sleep, every hour, every minute, you're making decisions that are going to affect not only the rest of the day, but the rest of the year and really the rest of your life. And when you think about them individually, they're pretty small decisions. Like, let's say you want to get up early and go to the gym before you go to work or school or whatever, if you have a job. And let's say you stay up, you go, all right, I'm going to stay up like an hour later than I usually do. It's not that big of a deal, I'll just stay up an extra hour. And in the grand scheme of things, you think about that, you go, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. But then you're going to lose an hour of sleep. And then you wake up the next day and you're tired and you go, all right, well, I'm just going to sleep in an extra 30 minutes. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just sleeping in an extra 30 minutes from when I said that I was going to get up. But now you have 30 less minutes to work out. So if you actually do make it to the gym, you're not going to have enough time to actually get a really good workout in, or you're going to be stressed and you're going to like be rushing. So you're not going to get a good workout, and you're going to be lethargic and you're going to beat yourself up because you didn't do what you said you were going to do. And it just cascades throughout the day. And if you do that enough, if you make enough bad decisions throughout the day for enough days or enough months, basically, if you do that every day, you end up having a year where you didn't really make a lot of progress, because everything is just compound interest. It all adds up. And so I forget what I was going to say next, but yeah, the little things really, really add up. They really do. Like, let's say you have an alcohol problem. Most people who are alcoholics, usually people start out with them and they say, hey, there's something behind me. I hope that's like a duck or something. But most people who start out as alcoholics, somebody initially approaches them and they say, hey, like, you're kind of drinking a lot. I've noticed you're drinking more than you used to. And people will usually say like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Like, oh, I'm just drinking a little more than I used to. It's not that big of a deal. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. But if you do that enough, you keep saying, oh, it's not that big of a deal. This is of small concern. It doesn't really matter. You do that enough, eventually you're an alcoholic. And it takes, like, what people don't realize is that once you get started on that train, it's hard to get off, because it just becomes a habit. If you're drinking every day for a week, it's pretty easy to stop. If you're drinking every day for a year, it's pretty hard to stop. you have to have enough self-awareness to realize that you're going down the wrong path and then get off of it. But a lot of people, they just don't, either because they don't have a lot of self-awareness, or they don't have the right support systems, or they just don't have enough discipline. That's how you see these people that end up on the fucking street and they're miserable. It's just because it was a series of bad decisions. And I'm not saying that like, oh, fucking homeless people deserve to be homeless. That's not what I'm saying at all. There's people that are very smart and very good people that end up being homeless just because of bad luck or bad circumstances, or they had bad people in their life. But a lot of times the people that fuck up their life is just because they don't take the small things seriously. They don't. Okay, I just heard something. And like in the old world, there was a lot of downtime, there was a lot of boredom, you know. Nowadays everybody has a full cable TV network in their pocket, so we don't have a lot of boredom. We don't have a lot of time to really think, and you get a sense kind of what the old world was like when you're out in nature, because everything just kind of like slows down and you can take it all in. You can see maybe what it was like for people in like the 16 or 1700s that didn't have this technology. But yeah, back then it was pretty easy to just get a bunch of work done because there wasn't anything else to do. There was a lot of boredom, there's a lot of time for reflection. I think that also people were more spiritual because, you know, they were more in touch with nature. They were alone a lot more. The people that came to this country, they would live in cabins in the woods by themselves for like months or years at a time. We see people every day, unless you live out in the country somewhere. I think that isolation, God usually speaks to people in isolation. I think that Jesus had to go into the desert for 40 days in order to find out that he was holy. I don't know, I didn't read the Bible, but I think that's the story. And so yeah, I mean, he was alone, he was isolated. And that's when God speaks to you. He doesn't speak to you when you're in a crowd. All right, that's all I got. I'll see you later.